right, Chairman Cox, we are live on air and you have the floor.
Good afternoon. I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Pitt County Department of Social Services Board on this Tuesday, January the 12th, 2021. So again, call this meeting to order, and I think we will open our meeting, or we open our meeting by observing a minute of silence, silent meditation or silent prayer. Thank you. Okay, thank you. In terms of next on our agenda is public comment. Susan, do we have anybody for public comment? I guess not.
No, okay. Sir, not at this time.
Okay, thank you, Susan, and stay on the line here. And what we'll do is to open this meeting, since this is a virtual meeting, we're going to take a roll call. So if you could proceed with that, with doing a roll call. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Chair Cox, present.
Present.
Vice Chair Bunch,
present.
Mr. Dancy,
present.
Ms. Nelson, Ms. Nelson,
present.
Ms. Parkins Williams.
You.
All are present, sir.
Thank you. So again, moving along, the first item on our agenda is to either adopt or revise today's agenda. So could I have a motion to do that, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. And so Susan, again, we're going to have to do the call.
Chair Cox.
Agree.
Vice Chair Bunch.
Agree.
Mr. Dancy.
Agreed.
Ms. Nelson.
Agreed.
Ms. Parkins Williams.
Agree.
Thank you. Okay. And again, next is approval of the previous meeting minutes. So Susan, if you could call the roll, please.
Chair Cox.
Approve.
Vice Chair Bunch.
Approve.
Mr. Dancy.
Approve.
Ms. Nelson.
Approve.
Ms. Parkins Williams.
Approve.
Thank you. Okay, next on our agenda, we're going to do a recognition of employees, and I'm going to turn it over to Jan to begin with our new hires.
Okay, let me start. Okay, so start my video. Let's see here. So our new hire, this is practice for me. Our new hire is Alexandra Best. Alexandra is in our child support unit, and she is a new lead child support agent. She comes to us from other counties and has a lot of strengths, and we're excited to have Alexandra. She goes by Alex as part of our team in child support.
Welcome, Alex.
Okay, and I will move, if it's okay with you, to move right on into our retirees, because we have two of those, and
Sure.
They are next on my pictures here.
Absolutely.
The next person is Sarah Newton. Sarah started her employment here. She's a social worker 3. She started there as a social worker 3 in 1998. So she's been with us for over 22 years. She worked in Edgecombe County before that. She was then classified as a social worker IAT. She is in our in-home unit and will be retiring on January the 31st. So we certainly are excited to have her enjoy the next part of her life and what, her career, and wherever she plans to go, she's going to be happy. The next person just announced her retirement in the last few days. So we're excited to add we're excited for Marie. We're sad for us, for both of these folks to leave us. Marie Farrar joined us in 2006. And she's worked in both our child welfare unit and our crisis unit. She is currently in our crisis unit as a social worker, helping folks who are coming in needing help with a variety of things from utilities to help with medications, whatever folks might need. She's the person there who's trying to help make that happen. So we're pleased to have all three of them, two leaving us and one coming. So it's a good day for all these folks and for the DSS.
Thank you, Jan, and welcome. And so moving on with our agenda here. Next on the agenda, we have a service award recognition.
Right. And I will read those names off for you.
Thank you.
We have Letitia Atkinson Taft, who has been with us for 5 years. We have Charity Moore, who's been with us for 10 years. We have Connie Renee Boyd, who's been with us for 15 years. We have Grayson Coward, who's been with us for 25 years. And the winner this time is Tammy Lewis with 30 years. So we're excited.
Congratulations.
Milestones all these folks have reached.
Thank you. Congratulations to them. Okay, appreciate that. Next on our agenda are items for consent, and we have one budget amendment, and you received that in your packet. Do we need any discussion with that, Jan, or do we just need to approve?
I don't believe we need any discussion. I certainly want to recognize the fact that this did come from Weyerhaeuser as a donation to our foster children's unmet needs and holiday funds. And certainly that was a wonderful contribution by that organization. So would like to at least acknowledge their donation.
Thank you, Ms. Elliott. So I'll just need a motion to approve the consent agenda. Items for consent. Thank you, Ms. Perkins. Williams?
Second.
The host has locked me out of the meeting, so I had to use this one.
Okay.
So I can't look at my agenda because I use this one for this source research tool for my agenda, and my laptop has been locked out.
Okay. So I'll need a second on that.
Second.
Okay, thanks, Catherine. And so Susan, you're going to have to take us through another roll call.
Derek Cox,
Agree?
Vice Chair Bunch,
Agree.
Mr. Dancy,
Agreed.
Ms. Nelson,
Agree.
Ms. Perkins Williams, Ms. Perkins Williams,
Here I said I've been locked out, so I'm trying to get to it. I was locked out and I'm still trying to get to it,
yes, ma'am.
but I am here or whatever,
Okay.
wherever we are. But the
Agree.
host
Thank
needs
you.
to unlock, need to unblock me. I've been blocked out of the meeting. But I
Sure,
can't
we'll see if we
leave
can-
it.
We will see if we can get you some technical assistance here. Okay, so next on our agenda are items for report. And I'm going to turn it again, and we're going to hear about our holiday cheer and Christmas update.
So I'm not sure who wants to go first, adult services or child welfare? Don't everybody volunteer?
We'll go ahead and go.
Okay,
Okay,
good.
good, thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer and Tammy.
Thank you.
So another year has come and gone. It's ended our adult holiday project. We'd like to thank everyone who assisted our residents and individuals under guardianship and in adult care homes during this holiday season. We're grateful for the response that we had to assist those in need. There were individuals and groups who adopted a resident or multiple residents. And there were also groups who collected generic hygiene items, undershirts, slippers, and clothing for Christmas and to use throughout the year. And there were also individuals who made monetary donations to help us with those individuals at Christmas and for their needs throughout the year.
And due to the sponsorships and the donations that we received, we were able to assist 132 residents during the 2020 Adult Foster Holiday Project. Because of the overwhelming response that we had, every resident in need and with no family support was able to receive items that they needed, such as clothing, hygiene items, shoes, coats, and some wishes that they would not have received otherwise. And everyone was very appreciative of the items that they received. So again, we thank everyone for the generosity that was shown to these individuals during the holiday season, for our residents, the individuals that we serve on the guardianship of Pitt County. So it was a great project again this year, and we just like to thank everybody.
Thank you for all of your hard work and your dedication. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna speak for Child Welfare Holiday Cheer. So Holiday Cheer 2020 was a tremendous success. We worked with a variety of community partners, and through our partnerships and working with the community, we were able to fulfill wish lists for our 182 of our children in foster care. And we also had 16 children in the 18 to 21 program, which was a total of 198 children. Because of the overwhelming support we received from the community, we were also able to assist families in our CPS and assessments unit and our in-home services unit as well. Um, we worked with a variety of people, too many to name in this meeting, but I can certainly get it to you all if you need it because the list goes on and on. Um, we are just thankful for being able to work with the community and giving the children and families what they needed during the Christmas holidays. I think if Cal or Carla can hear me, we have a little something that we would like to show you all concerning holiday cheer.
A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another, just as I loved you. You also are to love one another. One of the most simple ways to love is by helping when we see others in need, whether it's with our time, money, or energy. We find that helping others is a blessing to ourselves. Plus, we never know when we will be the one in need. Teachings tell us that we reap what we sow, and that there are blessings for those who seek a life of serving and loving others. It doesn't matter if you have a lot to give or a little. It's the heart that really matters. Christmas is not as much about opening our presents as opening our heart. The Pitt County Department of Social Services Child Welfare Division would like to thank you for your kindness. Love and kindness are never wasted. They always make a difference. They bless the one who receives them, and they bless you, the giver. Thank you for your kindness. Kindness is the language which the deaf can hear and the blind can see. Again, we thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your compassion during this holiday season. Kindness like yours can move mountains. Thank you for your loving and supportive heart.
Thank you. That was very nice. And I imagined you'll be using that maybe next year, and you got a good head start on next year's initiative. But I want to thank everybody for doing that. That's very nice, and I know that you put a lot of time and effort into that each year. So much appreciated. Anybody have any questions or comments? Okay, I don't see any hands. And okay, well, again, much appreciated. Moving forward here, we're gonna move into items for discussion, and I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Elliott to talk about the strategic planning. Okay. I see the cursor moving.
Cursor's moving. Got to unmute myself. Let's see if we
okay.
get this thing into slideshow format down here. Okay, guys. Okay. So we are excited to share our strategic plan. We have been working on this strategic plan and it's been in effect since 2018. As you can see, we realized that we needed to be taking a look at this and making some changes as needed. So if you remember, and I think very few of you on the board were part of this initial discussion, but the board and management first started talking during the 2017 retreat about developing a strategic plan and what were the key areas that we wanted to focus on. So the agency leadership and the staff developed, based on some of those comments that the board made, developed a strategic plan with the goals and objectives that were suggested. Took us a while to do that, and we finally adopted the plan in fiscal year 2018. We began at that time to give semi-annual reports to the board as requested on how we were doing on the plan itself. As we were working on this, we realized now, as we looked back, that most of the strategies and initiatives, activities in the plan were accomplished. We were checking them off, and a lot of positive things had occurred as a result. But we really weren't doing what we could do to quantify the outcome of our work. Were we actually moving the needle in some areas, although we were doing lots of great stuff? So in the spring of 2020, we started this process of reviewing and rewriting the plan, and we decided that we would utilize the state standards we were already being held accountable for as a measure wherever possible. Because up to this point, we had been using a variety of different measures. And so staff were being called upon to do measures for the county reports, to do measures for the strategic plan, and then do measures for the state. And so tried to consolidate that and make it work within the goals and objectives that we had for the strategic plan. Where there weren't any measurements already established, we have begun to do that process internally. So you'll see a combination, but we definitely have put some of that in place. So we confirmed the new plan, acknowledging that the work is going to need to continue. And obviously this plan runs through 2022, which isn't that far away. We adopted 6 goals with objectives for each of the goals. And I will tell you that the goals and objectives didn't change dramatically from what the original plan was. A lot of it was wordsmithing or maybe fine tuning some things. For goals 1 through 3, we clearly focused on those measurable objectives or outcomes so that we could say, yes, we were moving things in the direction that we needed to move things. For goals 4 through 6, and I've got 5 here, but 4 through 6, we continued to have a combination of goals and strategies. And so each division will take the outcomes that we're looking for and the goals and objectives, and then figure out what strategies that they're going to put in for their particular division for that particular area. So the first goal is improve safety and support for children by promoting services and access to agency and community programs and initiatives. And so the objectives under this particular goal are, and y'all have hopefully read the strategic plan, and when we've sort of paraphrased some of the objectives here, but so hopefully you'll know what those were. Meet or exceed child support standards, support early education enrollment, ensure that child safety and permanence is there, and ensure consistent timeliness of services. All of those things are important for this goal to be met. For goal 2, our goal is to improve safety and support for vulnerable adults through a comprehensive and collaborative approach in order to link clients to services within our agency and the community. And so the objectives here are assisting vulnerable adults with accessing internal and external services needed to live in the least restrictive environment, to complete evaluation of reports of abuse, neglect, and exploitation in accordance with state standards, to obtain timely assistance for the increasing number of adults who are unable to remain in their homes without assistance. So that would be in the applications for long-term care assistance, and to complete annual guardianship status reports in accordance with state policy. So those would be the goals and objectives for that for goal 2. For goal 3, the goal is to improve opportunities for family self-sufficiency by coordinating and integrating services that maximize employment opportunities for those we serve. So again, we're talking, and this one only has one objective, and that is improve family stability and employment prospects for those that are unemployed or marginally employed. And so there are a lot of things that we can do, and so measurements there you will see as you look at the plan itself. Goal 4 is increase the extent to which the agency promotes communication and coordination within the agency and with other organizations and with the public. So we want to ensure that there are sufficient channels of communication to inform current and potential clients about agency services, make appropriate referrals when services are not offered by the Department of Social Services. We want to improve communication within the agency and across other county departments and agencies. We want to incorporate data in that communication as we share our outcomes or identify gaps. We want to ensure that there are sufficient channels of communication between the agency and allied organizations as well as with the general public. Goal 5 is to improve the agency staff development program by establishing an environment of learning, professional development, recognition, and promotion that fosters long-term employment. So we want to improve the agency's administrative, management, and supervisory skills and plan for leadership succession. We want to develop and implement staff training curriculum throughout all direct divisions and ensure that it's consistently applied, tracked, and updated. Goal 6 is to conduct continuous evaluation of the agency's organization to ensure that we're responsive, have quality staff, and maximize resources. So we're going to review and revise the agency's organizational structure to promote necessary skills, coverage, timeliness, and liaison responsibilities. And that's an ongoing process that we look at on a regular basis. The second objective is to at least annually review the responsibilities of service units that regularly experience significant variation in caseload size or intensity and redistribute responsibilities as necessary. The next objective here is implement measures to increase staff members' prospects for career satisfaction and recruitment support. And I will say we went back and forth between whether this should be under goal 5 or goal 6. And as I was looking at this, putting this together, really do believe it belongs under goal 5 as an objective. Okay, so our next objective under goal 6 is while maximizing our resources and meeting federal relevant fiscal and compliance standards. Let me start over. While maximizing resources, meet relevant fiscal compliance mandates established at the federal, state, and county levels. And so I didn't want to go through all the metrics that we have established for each of these 6 goals and the many outcomes that go with these goals, but I want to give you a sample so that you can get a sense of what it might look like. So clearly, one of them would be for the area where we are looking at children and supporting children, then having paternity established for the children born out of wedlock. 100% of those children is having a paternity established. That would be one of those metrics that we'd be looking at. In the area of supporting families and education, we'd be looking at increasing the numbers or proportion of income eligible children aged less than 4 who receive subsidized care at 4 or 5-star centers to at least 15%. And this is an objective that actually is in the state's children plan for children in North Carolina. And we have to be really careful here because parents do have a choice. It's of what centers they want their children to go to. But clearly the goal is to get more and more children enrolled at the 4 and 5-star level, as that is more supportive of their success at school when the time comes to go to school. Another example would be achieving permanency for at least 30% of our foster children within 12 months of entering care. And then clearly when we get into our employment area, one of the things would be help at least 40% of our employment and training participants to successfully achieve their employment goals. And this would be after they have completed the educational component that we're talking about. So those are just some small examples of the types of metrics that we have gone to. And again, as you look at the plan itself, you can see all the different metrics that we have put in place. So we're now looking at what are the next steps. And clearly we want to talk to you about how you want us to report this information and as we're making progress. And our recommendation would be certainly an annual report to the board. And at the same time, that would also be to the community. We certainly want to spend some time establishing baseline measurements for any service areas that we weren't already tracking. And we want to continue to evaluate and modify the plan in preparation for June 30 of 2022, when a new plan should be established. And that would be one of the conversations that would occur at a board retreat, probably in the winter of 2022, to start that process, to kick that process off. So I will stop there and see what questions you all have.
Thank you, Jan. So, Ms. Perkins-Williams, it looks like you have your hand up.
Myself. Yes.
Hey.
In goal number 5, and as I read these prior to, and I couldn't figure out what DEAR stands for, and it had a lot to do with those things I'm familiar as it talks about civil rights and voter registration and those normal society things that I run into a lot. I couldn't put anything to beer.
And it's not a drink. And it has to.
Thanks for that.
It is a report that we have to work annually. Has to do with benefits. It's a benefit report that we have to work annually that we get from the state, and it's a federal report ultimately.
Okay, I figured FRR was a federal report register or something like that, but I couldn't come up with anything for that other one. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner. Other questions?
I have one, Jim.
Go ahead, Catherine.
Jan, I was wondering if, like we're doing with COVID in the school system, we're talking about a lot about dashboards and kind of keeping things real time data in the event that we would need to look at it mid course. Is that something that's been on in the discussions that you've had with your staff, leadership staff?
I can say that a lot of the outcomes that we're going to be looking for, the metrics that we're looking for, a lot of these are going to be on a state dashboard that is already in the planning stages, and we can already see a draft version of it now. Now, there would still be some things that wouldn't show up there, but a lot of them would be there. Not only would it show up there, it would give you comparative data with other counties of like size, other counties in the state as a whole. And it gives you data over a period of time. Now, it's like I say, it's very close to being ready for public use, but not quite there yet. So that would be step one of this. Certainly we could look at other things and how we could do that locally.
Okay, thank you.
Mrs. Elliott, I was wondering about Northwoods. Has that technology assisted in this COVID time in any way, or did they ever get that statistical part of that program or that system going?
Let me let the plane go by. The Northwoods has been very helpful for staff now, and it's helped us significantly with doing all the work we need to do out publicly and documenting that and giving us information. In fact, we moved a large part of the staff into their newest version, which is Traverse. Now, the NC Fast statistics, NC Fast is still not up and running for services, but it is providing a lot of the data for economic services. And so that is going to be part of what will be sitting out there on that state dashboard when it's up and running.
I was curious because I thought that would be a good source and it might be helpful in this day and time. And I had not asked about it in a long time, but it's good to know that it was money well spent.
Yes,
good question. Ms. Elliott, kind of follow up on that. Can you remind us what Traverse was? I know that was a new package.
Right. Traverse is a web-based package, and it takes, I'm trying to figure out how to explain it. It builds on what Compass, which is what we were already using, has. And so now not only do we have access to all the dictation, all the documents, we also can do some really sophisticated searches. We also have access to, they call it a word cloud, so that you can see the primary areas that this particular family is struggling with, and then some of the back issues that this family might have going on. So when somebody picks up a case, they get a real quick synopsis by looking at that, word cloud. You also can get a list of all the folks who've been involved with this family at any point in time. So it especially with as much sharing of cases as we do, having this kind of information makes it much easier for folks to catch up and know where we are and move forward without missing something.
So are the two systems interactive for you? Are they interactive, the two? Because if they said that you will be able to reach at one and get the other one, and you could intermingle.
Okay, with Northwoods, Compass, all of the Compass information for child welfare and adult services was moved over to Traverse.
Oh, okay.
And so Compass went away for child welfare and adult services. Compass is still being used for our child support staff. So two kind of different systems. But NC Fast is a whole different animal.
And it's not interacting with anything.
No, it's a state system that the state has built and is totally used in economic services, in child care, in those kinds of areas. That is the system of record, and that is the system that's capturing information for reports and to get benefits issued, that kind of thing.
See, legislator told us that NC Fast would be able eventually to interact with the other systems.
NC Fast will ultimately take over all of the other systems. Once it's fully activated, all systems will be NC Fast as it relates to social services kinds of activities.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
So any other questions regarding this, the strategic plan? Okay, so thank you for that, Jan. And I think kind of rolling into our next topic here, we're going to talk about board retreat planning. And just as a reminder that at the last board meeting, we talked about at our February board meeting, devoting that to a board retreat, which would be the 10th of February. We had some agreement that we would do that in person at the Ag Center. And I think that possibly is off the table right now. So I guess today's discussion is to talk about the retreat. And I guess doing it virtually is an option that we have. And then going ahead and talking about our agenda for the retreat. And Dr. Bunch and Miss Elliott and I had some discussion about, some possible items that, and I have those, but I just kind of wanted to open the idea up about having a virtual retreat in February and see what the board's thought was about that.
And I do believe the date is the 9th, not the 10th.
I'm sorry.
Just to make sure everybody's on the same.
Well, I think it'll be all right if it doesn't rain or snow or anything, because internet doesn't work that well outside of the city of Greenville. I hate to express that negative, but that means that no matter how good the computer is, internet is going to be bouncing in and out. That's what happens when there is weather. I just wanted to share it with you.
Absolutely.
This is Catherine. I think we need to move forward and have a strategic planning session. I think it's in the best interest of the county and our residents, and for the people that need us most. And so going ahead and moving forward in a virtual context, I think is going to be necessary and safer.
Yeah, that was going to be my sentiments exactly. We don't know what the virus will look like in February. So to move on with planning, I would agree that a virtual retreat would work best for me. So.
Well, virtual retreat for me will work best when it works. But I have a question. Will it be open to the general public, or what do you think about that?
Mm-hmm.
Since the capability is there.
Yes, ma'am. It will have to be open to the public. This is a public meeting. It's always been a public meeting, and now it would be broadcast. Typically, it hasn't been broadcast because we've been in areas where we didn't have access to the equipment, but doing it remotely, we will have access to that equipment. So it will be broadcast.
Okay, and help me, Jan, in terms of, we had talked about, needing additional time other than our board designated time. And I think the last couple years, we've dedicated maybe about 3 hours. Is that your memory too? So maybe
that's pretty much what we've done in the past. You may not want to do a 3-hour Zoom meeting. You may want to reduce it down. But in the past, we've started about 1 and ended about 4.
Yeah. I guess it would be my thought that we kind of follow that suit and go ahead and plan for the time. And if we don't need it, we don't need it. That to go ahead and look at doing it on the 9th at 1 o'clock and say from 1 to 4. I don't know that we've talked about that. I don't know, do we need to, anybody in disagreement with that?
I'm not in disagreement, but I express what.
I understand, Mary, yeah. And my internet right now is lagging too, so.
Oh, I feel good. I'm not the only one.
Yeah, I'm sagging too, so anyway. So we will certainly take that in consideration. I think the next thing, just to spend a couple minutes talking about possible agenda items for retreat and setting that agenda so we can kind of plan for that a little bit. You know, some of the things we talked about were, you know, kind of the board composition and sustainability in terms of as we move forward in terms of things. We talked about the possibility of Ms. Elliott had given a report to our community child protection team about child welfare and the demographics of child welfare. And so with that being a possibility, and let me see here.
What about seniors? It's not assault. What's the word I need, Ms. Elliott? Abuse, maybe.
The abuse and neglect of our seniors, of
Yes,
our adults.
Yes, yes.
Certainly a topic if y'all want to do that.
We've had an increase, haven't we?
We have seen an increase, yes, ma'am.
That,
and with the population aging, that's definitely going to continue to grow.
Absolutely, absolutely. And being shut in is going to be
right.
Yeah.
COVID has impacted both adult and children.
Yes.
As it relates to child abuse, neglect. It's also impacted domestic violence.
Jim, I would like to propose that we talk about potential partners, community partners, like we have this past year where we had presentations from our community partners and how we can network and integrate with some of the work they're doing to support things moving forward. And maybe NC Care 360 to see how well that's going thus far.
And we can talk a lot about NC Care 360. We probably get about 20 to 30 referrals a day over NC Care 360.
You know, I like that idea, Catherine. You know, I guess it was 2 months, maybe 3 months, we invited community partners in. And I think it not only benefited us as a board, but certainly the community had the opportunity to hear from them too. So maybe have some more dialogue around that, which could include NC 360, and maybe trying to develop a little bit of a list of agencies that we think would be good to do that with. I like that idea.
So at the retreat, that's what we'd be doing, is developing that list of folks that we would like to have come in. Right. Okay.
And then maybe specifically NC 360, Jan. I don't know if everybody's aware of that in terms of that program, but it sounds like it's becoming a bigger part of your work over there in terms of interaction. So maybe an update or a kind of a short briefing on NC 360. I think that would be good.
I would like for communications of this retreat to go out as soon as possible. That'll give the public a chance to look at it and learn some things about what the Department of Social Services is facing during these times. And it may be informative for them to know where certain sources and help is for their families.
Yes.
Once the agenda's nailed down, we can certainly make sure that gets posted in a variety of locations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Anything around the strategic plan that we could, you know, while we're together and we have an extended time. I know that there were some asks there at the end in terms of the things that the board need to do. Would that be something we could spend our time doing?
I serve at your pleasure.
Help me think about that. I mean, when that last page, you had 2 or 3.
I don't see how she has the time.
Or is that?
I think some of this sounds like it could fit nicely into sort of helping us fine tune some of the thoughts we're having about the budget too. We won't be ready to present the budget yet, but we will be, you know, going through recommendations, thinking about issues, and so having some input from you guys would be helpful.
I like that idea too.
Since I have left my constituency services place for the second time, I've gotten calls about different social issues, and where is the LEAP application, and where is this? And I don't know what to say, because I know how internet services move around out here. The lagging, you get lagging. We get really blackouts, Jim. And the advantage I've had is that my son works at ECU, and I get to holler out loud, and he can come in here and sort of help me out of difficult situations. And a good thing too is that I have access to more than one screen. Like, I didn't get my physical packet, and it's on the computer over there. And then the meeting is over here with you guys on the laptop. So I have to sort of use both systems to keep me going. And so I don't have to spend a lot of money on paper. So that's one of the things. But the community wants those access to those websites that I posted on the bulletin board, and they want to know how they can get to it. And I really don't know how to tell them other than the Pitt County government website, or call. And I didn't want to tell them to call the phone numbers, because that means somebody on the staff is going to be tied up again. And but I didn't have a lot of options. So if you can help out with that, that might do something for reaching people.
Real quick about that. If they just type in NC EPASS, NC EPASS, it'll take you straight to the application page for any type of application that we have out there, including this year. You can do your low income energy assistance application that way. You can also do a SIP application that way. You can go to the Pitt County website. The DSS site has a link to EPASS, and the Pitt County website on their COVID page has a link to EPASS. So any of those ways would get folks to an application. I think the first day we had like 75, the first day the EPASS application was up, we had 65 or 75 applications for LEAP to come across that EPASS. So it works very well.
I received that from Brian Avery, and that's what's posted out there. So that was helpful. And I had to, those are the day I made both calls to you and him, but that's great. That's great.
Thank you. So we have, I know that we've hit a lot of different topics and subjects, and do you think if we work together, we have enough to pull together an agenda for our retreat?
We probably have more than we can do during that retreat.
Okay.
But
I think we do.
If you
I don't want it to last too long, y'all.
Yeah, if you want to have some in-depth discussion, I think we probably need to narrow this down. Okay. And I certainly would want management team to be part of this discussion, so you'd have folks from all the different divisions participating as you had questions or concerns or whatever. So maybe pick your top 3 or 4 items, and then we can maybe do some others of them during regular board meetings.
And maybe identification as to who you are will be on one of the shelves back. Said Jan Elliott, Director of Social Service, and that was saved for the public as to the information that the people give and what department it may be. I was just trying to cut down on time. My eyes are getting weak.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So how about this? How about if you would, send me your thoughts in terms of your priorities, and then I will compile that and I will send them to Jan, and then we can kind of get together and develop our agenda. But let's go ahead and plan for that date, 9th of February, and it'll be virtual, and we'll start at 1 and we'll plan till 4. If we don't need that amount of time, we'll be good.
You say February the 9th?
Yes.
and you don't have a time because I'm getting it in my electronic calendar right now.
Let's start at 1 o'clock. And we'll budget till 4, and that'll be 3 hours, but thinking that we probably won't need that amount of time. Okay, let's move into your report, the director's report.
Okay, we'll see if we can do this kind of quickly. Speaking of the energy report, both Brian and Michelle have provided some information. I believe you got Brian's report in your packet. You can see that the pandemic LEAP application or allocation was $470,611, and those were issued as automated payments, and the county actually issued those payments. They had to borrow $186,388.90 from our regular allocation to help meet the numbers of folks that qualified for the pandemic LEAP. So that was the group that was 60 and older who received LEAP last year and who also received food stamps. That's the group that got covered there. So after all of that, we have $829,289.10 available for the rest of the population in the Pitt County. And so that is being applied for now. We've already had 265 applications through December. Now remember, that's the group that's 60 and older that normally applies in December. So you would add that to the automated group. And so you've got 1,392 folks, which is pretty close to what our normal numbers are for the December age group that is limited for December. We are now taking applications starting January 4th for all age groups, even those 60 and older, but those younger. And we're in the process of approving those individuals. And like I said, the first group of EPASS applications came through very quickly. You can also get an application. You can pick one up at our office at the front desk. You can ask for one to be mailed to you. You can, get one by email potentially. So there are lots of ways folks can get applications if they don't have access to the internet. And there are still a few groups, and unfortunately I did not bring that with me today, but there are still a few groups out in the community, like Ms. Perkins Williams group, that helps folks out in different areas of the county on certain days of the week. And that is posted on our website, so folks should know where to go. So right now, like I say, we have 1,392 folks who are already approved for LEAP. For crisis, just as a thought or to let you know, we've already obligated over we've obligated $458,816 thus far this year in our crisis program, and we've still got a lot of winter to go. We've served 2,001 households since July 1 with our crisis program. So we can do a maximum of $600 in a 12-month period of time. And so, we have people right now, because of the issues with electricity and COVID and those kinds of things, have needed the maximum allotment. A fair number have. So that's kind of an update on where we are with the crisis program. And I will just say on the COVID grant update, since that's the next thing and sort of fits with this, the contracts have all been signed. The bank cards are in the process of being signed. When that happens and we get it back to Raleigh, they will then give us a brief amount of training, and we should have the funds released at that point. But at this point, the funds have not been released for the help with rent to prevent evictions or for utilities as a result of COVID. So, but we're still working that process. If you know anybody, the applications for the positions, I think several of them are still posted. So folks could certainly apply for those jobs if they're interested. Anybody got any questions about any of that? Because it's all energy and rent related.
Rent. Is it still so many things to keep up with? our residents, landlord and residents, the landlords can't kick people out still. Is that still, I heard that in something.
There was an extension by the governor through the end of January that you could not evict somebody for non-payment of rent. You can still evict people for other things, but you cannot evict people for non-payment of rent.
Can you just ask them to get out? Because that has come up.
You can ask people to do whatever, but the eviction cannot happen officially through the court process.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, I'll move on to the Medicaid application processing report. Y'all should have gotten that in your package, and I know everyone was had questions about what they saw on that report. Our timeliness of processing, our regular Medicaid was 96%, so we were well above what we needed to be there. Our MAD, which is the Medicaid for disabled, was at 89%, so we did not meet the requirements there. We have to be at 90%. So when you look at the average processing time, you can see that our other Medicaid, which is our primary Medicaid, it took us 27 days to process, and we're allowed to have 45. For our MAD, we have 90 days to process, and it took us 167 days this time. So that was a real flag for all of us. And when I inquired as to what happened, apparently we had an application that was keyed and disposed of in error. When the person keyed it, they keyed in the person's birth date of 1976 instead of the date of the application. So that application, as one of the staffs has said, has been around since Nixon. And so we have asked for a waiver for that. It was a keying error. That waiver will probably be granted. But in the meantime, we have flunked the report for this month and certainly are not happy about that. It was just one of those things. You're in a hurry, you pick up the wrong number. So hopefully that will get handled, and we will continue to be doing really well in that area. So any questions about the application process and report?
They should give you some leeway anyway because of COVID.
Well, they're not. We still have to meet the requirements. So now when you talk about vacancies, let's talk about our vacancies. We, on this report that you have, we have 27 vacant positions. And we already have several of those 5 that are unfrozen. I mean, they're showing as frozen, have been unfrozen. So we're going to be advertising for them starting this week. We got a lot of folks about ready to come in the door. So hopefully we'll be in really good shape in the next few weeks after these folks come in and start working for us. So, and you see,
I was concerned about that number, 27 vacancies. It bothered me, and I'm glad to know that we will be getting.
Right. Well, you know, we've had freezes, and then we've had the ability to hire, and then because of COVID, we've locked things back down periodically. So all of that comes into play, but we're making progress. Any questions?
There was a position that you were gonna ask for one time. I don't remember if we approved it or not.
We asked for an adult services supervisor for protective services.
Yes.
That position the commissioners did approve, and that is one of the positions that's close to getting hired. It's being advertised now.
Good. Thank you. I was worried about that. Thank you.
Hey, Jan, this is Daron.
Yes, sir.
Hey, quick question on your recruiting. By chance, are you able to see if you're getting higher skill set qualified applicants? I know a lot of people have lost their jobs, you know, due to COVID, and there are a lot of people that are looking, people that may not normally would be on the market. Are you able to gauge if you're getting talent coming in at some of these positions?
What I can tell you, and Susan really can tell you probably even more because she is our personnel tech, but some of our job postings are getting more people applying today than we have had in, prior to COVID. So I think
Okay.
that may be an indication of that. And with the temp positions that we just recruited, the first one to close had about 6 or 8 applicants, which, considering it's a time limited, not real sure, doesn't have benefits, I didn't think that was a bad number. So I think that that's reflective too of the COVID population.
Okay, thank you.
Do you still get any people from Pitt community in that class of training?
Yes, ma'am. Those folks get priority. If they have been through that class, that's one of the priority things that gets them a foot in the door for an interview. So we are getting enough folks through that class now that we rarely hire anybody who hasn't already been through the full NC Fast training at Pitt Community.
Hallelujah.
Okay. Any other questions about that?
So, Jan, in terms of orientation and state orientation and training for new hires that are required, so I assume that's all being done virtually. And how's that going in terms of the timeliness of that?
Well, we had a lot of this. It took a while to get switched over from in-person to virtual. We've got folks in the virtual training right now that are new hires in child welfare who don't have the basic child welfare skills. Adult services has less training opportunities, so we're having to do that internally. I think they only train a couple of times a year, so usually we do a lot of that training internally. We are fortunate that the majority of the people that we hire in child welfare have already been through pre-service, either through the college system or worked for another agency. Occasionally, we'll get somebody who needs pre-service. What we tend to need more is those higher level trainings that the state office offers, forensic interviewing and sex abuse interviewing and those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. Any other questions for Jan regarding her report? Okay. So we're winding down here. We're going to move on to board member comments. Anybody have any comments they'd like to make before we close?
Well, I do.
Go ahead.
Yes. I would like to say to everyone that our virus numbers are raging. And if we can keep them on an even plane rather than rising, it will be better for all of us with a lot of things. It'll be better for education, services, county services, and certainly businesses. But we each must do our part in with this virus going on, and use some good common sense. Put a mask on. If you have some serious problem, line it with a coffee grind, a filter. It helps. Stay 6 feet apart when you go out if they don't live in their house with you. Be polite to everybody. We need to get through this. And please watch the website so that you won't complain to me about not getting an appointment for your vaccine. And prepare yourself mentally for taking it. We do need you to do that. I just hope the numbers in the newspaper can be reduced on the obituary page. And that takes all of us respecting each other and doing what medicine's health officials say we should do. And we ought to get a little better. I appreciate that.
Thank you for those words, Commissioner. I appreciate that, and everybody does. Anybody else have words? Okay, I don't see any. Go ahead.
I was going to say, great meeting. Looking forward to our strategic planning in February. Happy New Year to everybody. Everybody stay safe. Great words from Commissioner Perkins Williams.
Thank you. I agree. So want to remind everybody to send me your priorities in terms of our strategic planning. I've already got them from Catherine, so she was right on the ball. And send those to me and I will get them to Jan and we will get together to set the agenda. So if there's no other comments, I will move to adjourn. And Susan, you're going to have to take roll and we'll do it.
Do we have a second for the adjournment?
Oh, yes, indeed. Let's go home. Stay home. Go eat or something.
Okay, Chair Cox.
Thank you for doing that, Susan. Move to adjourn. Yes.
Vice Chair Bunch?
Yes.
Mr. Dancy?
Yes.
Ms. Nelson?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins Williams?
Yes.
Motion passed. Okay, we will see you next month. Thank you very much.